choices that people make. Little bit of a long story, I guess. There's an hour-long documentary. Believe it's called Bikram, Bikram, about the funniest little guy you will ever meet in your life. He claimed to be a competitive yoga guy, which just by itself sounds really ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. Yoga is a philosophy, probably one of the deepest philosophies there is. The idea that you could be a competitor in yoga is ridiculous. But there's the physical side of it, so I guess that's true. And then he said that he was a bodybuilder. He's going to be a weightlifter in the Olympics, and he was going to win that for sure. And eventually he wound up doing yoga classes in Hollywood. This is the most famous yoga teacher in the world. Probably still. He will be almost forever. And you'll see why. So anyway, if Bikram isn't the right name, you can find this story for sure. It's a Netflix special. Okay, so somehow, and I'm sure that he financed this by providing friendship and psychological counseling and yoga classes to elderly people who came to India seeking insight and wisdom at the time when they did. George Harrison went there. Maybe George Harrison contributed to his campaign to bring yoga to the world. And anyway, so Bikram's teacher, I think, really was phenomenal. And so is Bikram. Bikram is an incredibly good yoga teacher. I don't think anybody doubts that. So anyway, he gets started and he's doing these yoga classes in California. I think maybe he did it in Australia as well. And he wound up in a situation where he was charging people, I think, probably $1,000 each in a class with, I don't know, man. Sometimes it looked like about 500 people to me. And whatever. He owned Rolls Royces and Bentleys and all this kind of money was not an issue to this little character. And he was really a wicked good yoga guy. At the risk of sounding a little bit like, I can appreciate an exquisite male form, I'm going to say that guy, when he was young, was almost perfection. He really was. So what does he do? He winds up setting this yoga school where he would set the temperature, and I believe this is still what they do, the temperature in the room to 120. They would have to heat a hot room to get to that temperature, but that's the temperature I heard. And so who knows? Maybe it's just 100. And then put them through like a grueling yoga session to take about an hour and a half. Probably people died. And it was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenally popular, phenomenally effective. He taught people, and they came out and are teaching using this system still today. Well, Bikram is still teaching today, which will surprise you. So yeah, that was his thing. And the other thing is that there's an element of humiliation in any kind of profoundly narcissistic character that's so narcissistic, like he has zero sense of humor about it. But this guy had a sense of humor about it. I don't know, but the only thing that they really understand is that you adore them. And people do adore narcissists, especially when they're as talented as this one was. So none of this is made up. So he winds up doing these yoga classes and just abusing everyone. really badly, right? So he's this great teacher. He would stand up on a stage in his bathing suit. And people were in 120-degree temperature, and he would have an air conditioner on himself, apparently, sometimes. And it was just like, look, you're there, and you're going to do exactly what I tell you, and if you don't, I'm going to abuse you really badly, verbally, really badly, right? And over a period of time, if you look at his class, the classes, over a period of time are either women or gay men. But you can't tell by looking at them they're gay men, but everybody that they interviewed appeared to be gay. And so this guy's getting paid, These women would go, and he actually said this, something to this effect. He sang about this. You pay me to humiliate you and abuse you and sexually degrade you, and everybody's there. Like, they go for training sessions that last like 9 weeks, I think, and they're all in their bathing suits, like all day, doing this incredible yoga, and he's abusing the hell out of them. Not a word of a lie. Okay, and so eventually what happens? What do you think happens eventually? You really just think this through. There's the guy standing there up all day in his bathing suit, teaching these yoga classes, and abusing, like, I think that he was like individually, he would go individual by individual, abusing the hell out of mostly young women. And so what happens? Okay, and so what happens is eventually you get some stories coming out, and the stories are like this. So there's one that was really, really famous, and she tells the story about how she was invited to his room one day, and he was so excited because he never slept, apparently, and so he would invite girls to his hotel room, really top of the line, everything, right? So this girl did go to his hotel. I'm just thinking one of them, really beautiful young woman, went to his room, and he was apparently really talkative. So he would talk, and then he's, of course, all these creeptoids like Weinstein probably, and Epstein for sure, this was his kink. Okay, so give me a massage. I mean, can you get more corny? Oh my God, the lack of imagination. These people are so stupid. I mean, sex is their kink, and the best thing they can think of is, oh, give me a little massage on my neck, and then kind of, so you're hanging around there, and they kind of move down, and da-da-da-da. And then eventually, he's asking for that thing, right? Oh my God, that fucking kills me. And so, eventually she comes out and says, okay, I wanted to be like a really rich and famous teacher at his school. And then he invited me up to his apartment one night and coaxed me into giving him a hand job. And isn't this terrible sexual abuse? I'm not kidding, right? And then, of course, so she tells the story, and then what happens? What do you think happens after that? Other women, I would imagine he did this to men as well. It's inconceivable to me that he didn't. Okay, there was one of the gay guys in the movie is saying, oh, he's witnessing this, and he's so shocked to learn that he was being sexually abusive to women. So shocked, really. You're taking a class from this guy for months at a time, and you know that women are going to his room, and you're shocked to discover that he was getting a hand job off some chick. I mean, the depth of the stupidity, I mean, not that he believed that, but that he would think anybody else would believe it, right? It's another one of these, everybody knows, everybody. We know, you know, God knows, Jesus knows, the fish in the fish tank knows. We all know everything, right? And so the problem with it is that eventually it did get really nasty. Like, big surprise there, right? And I believe them. But there were so many of them, it didn't. They didn't just quit and find a new job. They kept going back, right? And eventually he was charged. Okay, eventually he came on to his lawyer. And all he did was talk to his lawyer. He didn't touch her. He suggested that she have sex with him. That's all he did. All he did to his lawyer was say, "Okay, you got to have sex with me," or, whatever, and threaten her. And so she takes it to the district attorney, who happens to be black, whatever, and so they try this case. And what happens is that the ones that had been massaging him and etc. also had a civil case against them. So they're looking for a lot of money, right? But the lawyer and his lawyer and his lawyer's lawyer, she's really, in the video, she's really proud of how smart she is compared to him. What happens is that he's never charged legally. He's never charged with a criminal offense. He couldn't have a situation more likely to have a guilty defendant than this. Whether they could have convicted him or not, I don't know. I don't even care, because he would have had to gone through the trial process, right? He should have been charged with rape. He raped these women. There's no doubt in my mind he raped them. And so as the civil case goes through, he just decides to leave the country. So all of these women that he had sex with, there could have been a settlement, but they didn't get their money because he just left the United States. None of the victims of his behavior were paid. None of them. Zero. Because they all wanted more money. And so eventually he just left the country. They didn't get anything. Really? If you have a civil case against somebody, they don't extradite you. So he just left the country. And now he's in Mexico. And each of his schools sends him the best girls. And he's down in Mexico, and there's still a lineup of women in his class. It's continuing until this day. And what he said when they said that he was guilty of rape, which he was guilty of rape, was that, look, if I wanted to have sex with women, I could have a lineup of women, thousands of women long, in 5 minutes. And he's right. He's correct that he could do that. Which, okay, dude, yeah, you could do that. It's not precisely what you like, is it? What you like is to manipulate them and threaten them and trick them. That's what you like. That's what you did. You know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. And the guy's still running yoga classes in Mexico. I swear to God, man. So when you get this sort of thing about, these powerful men secretly behind the door, whatever, are doing this stuff. No, everybody knows. Everybody knows. And especially the women that go to his class know. God, I mean, it's so entertaining. I can't feel any anger about it because it's just so funny. It wouldn't be funny when he's got you pushed up against the wall, that's for sure. This is a really creepy story. Whatever his name is. You can find this for sure.